As the day begins, you can kind of tell sometimes. You hear a thud, followed by a little bit of a pitter-patter. And that pitter-patter becomes a little stronger and stronger. And then all of a sudden, you hear a swoosh, and you feel 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 or more kids jumping on top of you and your wife in your bed in the morning. A loving relationship. The Holy Family. Maybe the same family, maybe a different family, your family, whatever family. 5:30 at night of an evening comes. Everyone was frantically busy. They ate their supper. They all joined together in getting the dishes all done because they had a very special thing that they was going to be doing. They was going to be taking little Joey to play in his first basketball game. They was all excited. They got everything ready and they went to the ball game. The end of the first quarter, Johnny was still kind of on the bench. He didn't get to play yet. So as the second quarter begins, Johnny still remained on the bench. The third quarter, still on a bench. And at the end of the game, Johnny was still on the bench. Mom and Dad and the family goes over to poor little Joey or Johnny and says, "We are so glad that you are part of the team. You helped them to do what they did." A loving relationship, the Holy Family. Same family, different family, whatever, families. Something is changing. Things are not like they was. Mom and Dad, they're not the same people. They don't do things the same way. They can't. They're sick. They hardly can get around. Today they had to make a decision whether to go to a nursing home or to assisted living or just stay here or get somebody in, or the family was gathered together trying to help make this decision, these hard decisions that come about sometimes in life. A loving relationship, the Holy Family. These are only 3 examples of what Christ asks us to do as a member of a family, to become a holy family. To become a holy family, we live together in loving relationships. And today, the Feast of the Holy Family, we are called to continually increase our loving relationships. Pope Francis asks us to proclaim the gospel with joy. And on a day of Holy Family, how can we help but be filled with joy as we start thinking about the joyful memories? But there's not always joyful memories that goes with family life either. There's some very sad times and very difficult times. But I'll share another little story about what my wife and I like to do because it brings us so much joy. One of the greatest things that we like to do is to walk through the state parks, especially in the summertime when all the families are gathered around together, sitting around the campfire, cooking, or sitting and telling stories. They're reserved all their time for each other. Talk about fun, and we experience that with our own families too, sitting around the campfires and camping and just enjoying each other. It brings many joyful memories to us as we go on that walk. And and it might be 10 below zero in the wintertime that we take those walks also. And you can still see all those families in that playground just having nothing but a good time. Families aren't perfect. Families have all kinds of struggles. There's all kinds of conflicts. that take place in families. We know of them. And then there's always these other things that happen, these curveballs that were thrown. Someone gets very sick, maybe extremely sick, or we lose someone very, very special in our family. Maybe a son or a daughter or a brother or sister or a spouse or an aunt or an uncle or someone that is very close to us. Even in these times, the family can uplift each other along with their church families and help to bring joy even in the hardest of times. No, families have memories or they do different things in their relationships. Some are healthy relationships and some are just very, very dysfunctional relationships. You even wonder how some families can continue to exist because they are so dysfunctional. And we all have sins in our families also. And we see a family as the experiences that we ourselves have as a family, and we look at those and see that as what regular or normal behavior is, to give us an idea what family life is all about. But it is about more than just the way that we do it and the sins that we commit. And that's why it is so important for us on a day as today, the Feast of the Holy Family, to turn to the Holy Family and reflect and imitate them as a model in the way that we live. No matter what kind of mistakes we've made in our past, it is another day today, and we pull ourselves up and live imitating the Holy Family. So how did the Holy Family live? I could go through many, many different reflections. But one of the greatest reflections, or the greatest imitations that we can make, is the yes that both Mary and the yes that Joseph said, that they would allow Jesus into their family. They said yes. And I think that is the biggest thing that each of us can do, more and more and more and more, is to say yes and allow Jesus into our family. We hear of the Old Testament readings of Abraham and Sarah. Abraham, the father of our faith. We fill our life with faith when we allow Jesus into our family. Abraham, the father of faith, made a covenant with God. God said that he would be our God and you will be our people. And he told Abraham that the stars will number in the sky. His offspring would be just as numerous as those numbers. And God made it eventually happen. Abraham had pretty well given up on God with that happening. So we heard in the first reading, but yet God continued with his covenant and brought forth a child for Abraham and Sarah, even in her old age. God brings all kinds of things to our families. As we focus on our families today, it is very important that we do bring Christ into it. And also focus on the beginning of our family. The beginning of our family began with Mom and Dad. Remember back a week ago, a month ago, 10 years, 50 years ago, maybe more than that, when the two of you made your covenant to get married and was married. The covenant that you made, filled with love. The one of you, and the other one and one is two, and God would be three, all become one. And your love expressed then even became greater. It became the family. Maybe one child, maybe many children, maybe no children, but you still family with your other families. How have you continued to grow your family? with that same kind of love. It is those loving relationships that we continue to add. We continue to focus on those loving relationships, bringing love, bringing God, who is love, into that marriage, into that family. You know, we are so blessed. We are so blessed at All Saints Parish. We are so blessed in this corner of the state with the type of people that we have that have such very large or small, very loving families. I think there's something very concrete. And I know growing up, the concreteness of our families. And I knew some of your families as you grew up 40 years ago or whatever, or when I went to school with some of you. The families, they were very important. We depended on each other. Actually, we didn't depend on each other. We worked together with each other in doing what we did. The other thing is we had and have God in our family. This is what today is all about. Re-evaluating what is happening in our own family. You know, sometimes we have family gatherings and we discuss what is going on in our family, just as the couple did when they had to make the decision what to do with their mom and dad. And their mom and dad could but couldn't even help with the decisions that needed to be made, or maybe they was made prior to. You know, sometimes I remember with our own family when we had the little kids, we would have a family meeting and we would point out a few areas where we needed to straighten up our act a little bit, where the kids needed to get in line a little bit, or whether I and my wife needed to get in line a little bit. Today is a very good day to do this type of thing. The other thing that we can do today is see the blessings that we have been given. We have truly been given that joy, the joy of the family, and those blessings. They overflow like a fountain. They rise. God has given us so many blessings. When you look at the problems in the world today, we have some here too. So we've got a job here as well. But those blessings, if we allow them to overflow and bring that love to others and to other families, helping other families in various ways, helping them to raise their children. And we can't raise them as a parent, but we still can look out for each other. There's so many little things, and I'm not going to go into all those kind of details. But what can you do to share the blessings that you have received in your family as you outpour yourselves into other families? We live in a human family. We also live in our Christian or our Catholic family through baptism. And we also live in the All Saints family. So that's where we can begin that outpour into the All Saints family. How can we help others? How can we outpour that love? Even just in church, singing together, praying together, that outpour becomes so infectious that the Holy Spirit that runs through the love in our veins, in our own families, extends into other families as that fire of divine love spreads like wildfire. Yes, we are blessed as family. As we look around, we see some children. Sometimes at Masses we see more children. We also have a few spots that's empty. We can do what we can to try to fill them. I know from experience it's harder sometimes for family members to fill those spots from your own family than someone else. Just saying a few little words. Not a lot. They don't want that. Just a little bit here or there. Sometimes it helps when someone else says something to our family members than we ourselves. a good way to allow that fountain to overflow. Nevertheless, today is also a very good day to be thankful and continue to pray for families. Our families today need prayer. We have so many things that is happening in families today. They're trying to become eroded away. Even marriages are decreasing. So many young ones are deciding, I'm not even going to get married, and they just live together. There is many things where deterioration in the families is taking place. We must be strong families. We must overflow our fountains. We must forgive those in our own families and continue to grow. Grow as a holy family, no matter where it is right now. Continue to grow in those loving relationships and become the Holy Family.